I want to learn to drive. Andrew lifted his head from his cup of coffee, scrutinizing his wife's face. Lauren was sitting across from him, arms crossed, as if protecting herself from possible resentment. She had a slight smile on her lips, but there was tension in her eyes. You? He grinned, setting the cup aside. You always said you were not cut out for this. Well, people change, Lauren shrugged, reaching for her coffee. She took a sip, as if she was not paying much attention to the conversation, but Andrew knew her well enough. It was not an impulsive urge. No, Lauren never made decisions on emotion. If she was suddenly talking about driving, it meant the thought had been brewing in her head for a long time. What made you think of it? He asked, watching her reaction. She shrugged slightly, looking away from the window. Outside, cars were passing leisurely through the glass. A dog was pulling its owner on a leash, and an old man in a cap was reading a newspaper thoughtfully on a neighboring terrace. I realized how uncomfortable it was to be dependent. Lauren returned her gaze to him. If I need to go somewhere, I have to either ask you or call a cab. It's annoying. Andrew leaned closer, interlocking his fingers. Did it happen after something specific? She rolled her eyes. No, I'm just tired of feeling helpless. His eyebrows quivered faintly. The word helpless seemed inappropriate to him. Lauren had never been like that. Independent? Yes. Comfortable? Absolutely. But helpless? I do not mind, he finally said, straightening up. If you're serious about it, I'll help. She smiled as if relieved. Really? Of course. Have you picked out a car yet? Oh, I thought you were going to help me, Lauren murmured, leaning closer and placing her palm over his hand. Andrew grinned. Lauren, if you are going to be independent, is not it logical to choose what you drive? She rolled her eyes, but the smile did not disappear. Okay, I'm going to go see what I like. She rose from the table, taking her phone with her, and Andrew remained seated, staring after her. Something about the whole thing was strange. Later that evening, he remembered a moment that for some reason had not immediately caught his attention. Lauren had brought it up 2 weeks ago, jokingly. They'd been driving back from their friend's party, and he'd been driving as usual. Imagine if I were driving, she said cheerfully as he maneuvered through the evening traffic. I'd be scared for everyone on the road, Andrew grinned. Oh, come on. She punched him lightly on the shoulder. Seriously, what if I learned? You hate driving. Well, you never know. He did not think much of it at the time. He thought it was just a random conversation. But now, as he replayed it in his head, he realized that what she said was not a coincidence. Lauren had been up to something even then. The next day, they went to the car dealership to pick out a car. I want something stylish, but not too bulky, Lauren said as they walked along the gleaming cars. Andrew walked beside her, watching her carefully. He knew his wife. She always chose things that emphasized her status. And now she was not looking at the modest options, but was eyeing the BMW and Lexus. I like this one, she said, stopping beside the white BMW. Andrew nodded. Good choice. Can I put in my name? He looked at her in surprise. Are you going to pay for it yourself? No, of course not. Lauren laughed. I want it to be my car. Andrew looked at her in surprise, but did not say anything. The white BMW stood in the center of the showroom, its polished hood gleaming under the fluorescent lights. Lauren slowly ran her hand over the smooth metal, savoring the moment. Happiness glittered in her eyes, the same kind of happiness she had when she picked out expensive jewelry or designer handbags. Andrew watched her, feeling a slight satisfaction. He knew she liked luxury, and there was nothing wrong with that. He earned enough to afford his wife the best. Do you like the BMW? He asked, smiling slightly. I love it. Lauren did not even take her eyes off the car. It looks elegant but not flashy. She slid her hand over the mirror, then the chrome door handle, and finally turned to the manager. When can I pick it up? The young consultant in the immaculate suit smiled. We can arrange everything today if you have the necessary paperwork. Lauren instantly perked up. Great, I'm glad. Andrew had expected the paperwork to take a little while, but it ended up taking longer than he had anticipated. Here, and here, the manager pointed his finger where to sign while filing the paperwork. Andrew lazily ran his eyes over the papers, signing where indicated. He'd done this hundreds of times before. Houses, insurance, bills, and had long since gotten used to the routine paperwork. Lauren, on the other hand, looked impatient. She held the phone in her hand, glanced at the screen, then at the manager. How much longer? She threw with a touch of irritation. Almost everything is ready, the man replied with a professional smile. Registration is left. Andrew turned over one of the documents, and suddenly his eyes caught on an unfamiliar detail. Second owner. Under his name was another one, Chris Barton. His eyebrows twitched slightly. Lauren? Yes? She looked up quickly, as if she'd been expecting a question. Who asked that? He tapped his finger on the line of someone else's name. She blinked, then tilted her head, as if she had not realized what he meant. It's just a formality. The manager explained to me that sometimes it is useful to add another name. Useful? Andrew slowly looked up at the manager, but he looked completely unfazed. It is not a mandatory item, but some clients prefer to do that, the manager said in an even tone. Why? Andrew asked, now looking directly at his wife. Lauren brushed it off as if he was asking something insignificant. Well, I might need help with the paperwork, or in the future with the sale. But why did not I know anything about it? She rolled her eyes. God, Andrew, you said yourself you trusted me on this. You re okay with that, or not you? He squinted. I did not mind, but who is this Chris Burton? Lauren exhaled slowly, as if struggling with irritation. Just an acquaintance who was helping me with my choices. An acquaintance? I thought we picked out a car together. She smiled, but it was a strained smile. I meant a financial advisor. He explained to me the best cars to take, the best insurance, and so on. Andrew looked at her carefully. And he was so helpful that he earned a place on your car as paperwork? Lauren shrugged. Just a little insurance in case something unexpected happened. You know I'm not good at that sort of thing. The manager, who clearly sensed the tension in the air, coughed and added hastily. You can always change it later. If you want, we can remove the name now, but then we have to renegotiate the contract. Andrew shifted his gaze to Lauren. She was looking at him with a slight, pleading look, as if this whole situation was completely insignificant. Sweetheart, let us just get this over with, she said quietly. I just want to get the car. Andrew exhaled, feeling something unpleasant in his chest. Maybe he was really winding himself up. Maybe it is just his habit of controlling everything. But something about her behavior was unsettling and unsettling. Okay, he nodded, signing his name. Lauren instantly perked up. That's great. Thank you, darling. She leaned over and kissed him on the cheek. Andrew smiled, but felt a strange heaviness inside. When all the paperwork was done, Lauren took the keys and immediately announced, I'm going alone. Andrew blinked in surprise. Are you sure? You're not too confident at driving yet. That's why I need to start right away. Lauren laughed, patting him on the shoulder. I want to feel independent. I could follow you. Do not, she interrupted, quickly stashing her keys in her purse. It'll be fine. She gave him another peck on the cheek and turned on her heels and headed for the exit. Andrew glanced at her. Lauren stepped outside, saddled up in her new BMW, and without even a glance in his direction, drove quickly out of the parking lot. He stared after her. Andrew inhaled deeply and exhaled slowly. It had been a week since Lauren had gotten the car. Andrew had expected her to be cautious behind the wheel at first, but on the contrary, Lauren had quickly gotten the hang of it. Every day, she would take the BMW and, as she said, go off to practice. Today was such a cool lesson. She told me over dinner, pouring wine into glasses. The instructor said I had great skills. Really? Andrew smiled demurely. What's his name? Lauren froze for a split second, but then shrugged. I do not really remember. John? No, maybe James. Anyway, it does not matter. He looked at her intently. You do not remember the name of the man who teaches you every day? Well, yeah. Lauren smiled slightly, taking a sip of wine. I'm just more focused on driving than on his name. She lied. Andrew had not dwelled on her words before, but now that he knew about the oddities in the paperwork, any behavior of hers was questionable. Where exactly are the classes held? At the driving range, she said quickly. Which one? Lauren looked at him with slight irritation, as if he were pestering her with unnecessary questions. A regular indoor driving range. It's more important for me to learn how to drive than to memorize its name. She shifted her gaze to her plate and picked at her pasta with her fork, signaling that the subject was closed. But for Andrew, it was just beginning. In the afternoon, he'd gone out to the parking lot to get something from her car. Lauren had left her keys on the nightstand, and it was an opportune moment to check things out for himself. When he opened the door, he was greeted by the smell of expensive perfume. Not hers, a man's. He inhaled deeply, looking around the interior. Clean, perfectly clean, too clean, but in the back seat, something caught his eye. A white bag from a men's clothing boutique. Andrew bent down, picked it up, and looked inside. Inside was a new shirt, an expensive, tailored shirt. A receipt stuck out the side, and he glanced at the date. Yesterday, the same day Lauren had said she practiced at the driving range. He pressed his lips together, feeling the suspicion building inside. What the hell? When Lauren got home, he did not question her right away. He simply placed the package on the living room table. Lauren saw it, and her face froze for a moment. But only for a moment. Then she took the package in her hands and made a surprised look. "Oh, you found it?" "Yes, in your car," Andrew replied in a level voice. "Is it yours?" "Of course it is." She smiled quickly. "It's a present for Daddy. A surprise." He nodded slowly, clutching the glass in his hands. "Interesting. I just thought your father's birthday was last month." She froze, and her fingers gripped the package a little tighter. But Lauren was smart. She immediately smiled as if nothing strange was going on. "Yeah, but I did not have time to buy a gift then. Now I was making up for it." Andrew did not say a word. He just kept looking at her. She was waiting for him to say something, try to get to the truth. But he did not. Because it was already clear to him that she was lying. Andrew was not the type to throw accusations around without proof. He was patient, thoughtful. When something did not seem right to him, he waited. He watched. After he found the shirt in the car, he kept watching Lauren. She kept walking around with a satisfied smile, like nothing had happened. Every day, she took the BMW and drove off to practice. "Today, we finally practiced parallel parking," she said cheerfully in the evening, pulling off her shoes at the entrance. "It's harder than it looks, but I did it." "Good for you," Andrew nodded, hiding a muffled tension beneath a mask of calm. In the evening, when Lauren went to class again, he went to the underground parking garage. The security shift had just finished, and Danny, the night watchman Andrew had known for years, was sitting in the office. "Danny, I have a strange request," he said, leaning against the counter. "Can you show me the camera footage from the last few days?" The guard raised his eyebrows. "Did something happen?" No. I just want to see Lauren checking out her lessons." Andrew made a slight smile, but inside, everything was clenching with tension. Danny nodded, turned to the monitor, and typed in the necessary commands. A couple of seconds later, footage of the parking lot appeared on the screen. Andrew leaned forward a little, gazing into the image. There was her BMW. There's Lauren getting off the elevator. But she's not getting behind the wheel. The driver's seat is already occupied. He saw the silhouette of the man behind the wheel. Tall, wearing an expensive jacket. Lauren opened the passenger door, got in, and closed it, and then the car drove smoothly out of the parking lot. Andrew felt something cold spill inside his chest. She's just leaving. With him, he forced himself to breathe evenly. "Can you pause for a moment?" he asked quietly. Danny pressed the button. Andrew stared at the screen. He could not see the man's face. The camera was too high up, but he already knew exactly who it was. Chris Burton, the name he'd seen on the paperwork, the one who owned part of the car. Andrew leaned back, his lips pressed into a thin line. "Is everything all right?" Danny asked. "Yeah, thanks." He stood up and headed for the exit. Now he understood everything. Lauren did not take the car for lessons. She was getting in it with another man. She was lying to his face. She played the role of the caring wife. And him? He'd let her do it in silence. But not now. He had a habit of noticing details, and it had saved him from financial mistakes more than once. Andrew always checked the accounts. But this time he'd almost missed it. The phone rang in the morning as he was getting ready for work. It was an unfamiliar number, but it was labeled bank. Mr. Wallace? There was a polite voice on the other end. Yes. This is customer service. Are you comfortable speaking now? What's this about? We have a small issue with your car insurance. We've noticed that payments are coming into an account that does not match your main account. Just a standard check. There may have been a processing error. Andrew frowned. What exactly are we talking about? The insurance on your BMW is paid for by you, but the policyholder is registered in the name of Christopher Barton. The world in front of his eyes shook slightly. Come again? Our system shows that the primary owner of the car is Christopher Barton. According to the paperwork, the insurance was taken out through us, and all payments are deducted from your account. Andrew exhaled slowly. Wait, the car was purchased in the name of my wife, Lauren Wallace. Yes, but according to the deed, the second owner is listed as Christopher Barton, and the priority title is in his name. Priority title? He felt like he'd been punched in the chest. There has been some kind of mistake, he said in a muffled voice. We can have you come to the office to check the paperwork. If you want, I'll email you a copy of the contract right now. Send it, please. I want to see it. The operator's voice was steady and calm, but one thing rattled in Andrew's head. He was being used. Lauren had used him. He paid for a gift for his wife, and she registered the gift to someone else's man. After a minute, his phone gave him a notification. Incoming email from the bank. He opened the file and felt a chill spread through his body. It was all there. Lauren et signature. Barton et signature. And his signature in the financial guarantor box. He remembered signing the papers at the car dealership. He remembered not paying attention to the extra lines. Because he trusted her, and she asked him to make it quick. Everything Andrew knew needed confirmation. He could not just accuse Lauren of cheating and shenanigans. He needed to see with his own eyes exactly what was going on. The next morning, he got up earlier than usual and got ready. He chose a car that would not attract attention, an old Ford, rented for the day. He put on dark glasses, a simple jacket, parked at the other end of the underground parking garage, where he would not be visible from the cameras. When Lauren stepped off the elevator, he held his breath. She looked around, pulled out her cell phone, dialed something. A minute later, a white BMW came around the corner. He was behind the wheel. Chris Burton. Tall, wiry, with impeccably styled hair and a relaxed confidence in his movements. Lauren quickly got into the car without turning around. Chris said something, and she laughed. Shit. He clutched the steering wheel, suppressing his anger, and slowly followed. But they did not go to any driving range. 20 minutes later, the car turned toward a familiar place. A restaurant, expensive with tinted windows, chamber tables, perfect for those who wanted to go unnoticed. They parked, got out. Chris led Lauren inside, resting his hand lightly on her lower back. She did not object. Andrew exhaled. Now he knew everything and understood what was going on. But he was not going to make a scene. He was going to make them realize for themselves how far they'd come. He gave them 10 minutes, just long enough for them to order wine, to relax, to make them feel safe. Then he got out of the car, walked slowly toward the restaurant. The room was quiet, soft instrumental music playing. The waiters moved smoothly, not disturbing the guests. When Andrew entered, he saw them at once. They were sitting at a corner table, almost hidden behind wine glasses. Lauren was saying something, looking into Chris's eyes, her fingers playing with the stem of the glass. He leaned closer, a slight smile on his lips. Intimacy. Nos chainis. No remorse or fear. Andrew approached. Calmly, without making any unnecessary movements, he sat down across from her. Lauren noticed him first. Her face instantly lost color. Her eyes widened, her fingers clenched the glass. Chris turned his head, frowned. Andrew? Lauren's voice was weak, broken. He did not answer right away, just slowly spread out the papers in front of him. Car papers. Paychecks from his account. Pictures from the parking lot cameras. Pictures of Lauren getting into the BMW next to Chris. He laid them out as neatly as if he laid out the cards in perfect order. Lauren was silent. Chris did not either. Hello, lovers. Choosing wine without me? Andrew asked quietly, his voice flat, emotionless. Andrew, Lauren swallowed, threw a quick glance at the papers, then back at him. What the hell? Chris made an attempt to take control of the situation, but his voice did not sound as confident as he probably hoped. Andrew looked at him. I have questions, not you. Sit in silence until I give you permission to talk, he said calmly with menace in his eyes. Chris fell silent. Andrew shifted his gaze to his wife. Tell me, Lauren. He leaned closer, interlocking his fingers. When exactly did you decide that I was such an idiot that I would pay for a strange man to drive my wife to restaurants? She trembled. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. Chris exhaled noisily, leaned back in his chair. Look, Andrew, that's not what you think it is. Andrew looked at him with a slight chuckle. Really? He tilted his head slightly. So go on then. Surprise-moi. Chris hesitated. We read just friends, he finally said. Andrew laughed. Calmly, slowly. Friends? He tapped his finger on the paperwork. Friends I buy cars for? Chris looked away. Lauren stared at the table as if trying to disappear. I paid for the car, but it's registered to him, Andrew continued. What do you call that? Taking care of a friend? Or is it manipulation? Lauren looked up slowly. She realized he had her cornered. Andrew, listen. No, you listen. He leaned closer. It was all a lie. Every word you said. From day one. She opened her mouth, but again she could not find the words. Chris smoothed his hair nervously. What do you want, Andrew? He muttered. Andrew looked at him. I thought I wanted to blow it all to hell. That I want to punch you and stomp you on this floor. He paused. But now I only want one thing. To watch you get out of all this shit without my money. Andrew rose slowly from his chair, and Lauren grabbed his arm in a panic. Wait. Her voice was shaky, but not from remorse. It was from fear. He looked down at her. There was no anger or pain in his eyes. Only coldness. For what? He asked quietly. She pressed her lips together, squeezing his wrist as if she could hold on. We need to talk. Andrew grinned, slowly releasing her hand. We? Talk. Lauren, when was the last time you told me the truth? Lauren opened her mouth, but Chris interrupted her. You act like you re the victim. His voice was steady, but his gaze betrayed concern. But maybe you just did not see that your marriage had been cracking at the seams for a long time. Andrew looked at him as if he just spotted a mosquito on his sleeve. Had he? And when did that happen, Chris? Before I paid your car payment? Or when you started screwing my wife while I worked to provide a comfortable life for her? Chris clenched his jaw. You fucked it all up, Andrew. Did I? Andrew bowed his head, watching him curiously. Come on, tell me what I did wrong. Chris looked away. Come on, Chris, Andrew continued. Say out loud what you read best for her. Tell me you love her. Chris remained silent. Andrew grinned. You see, not even say that, can you? Lauren squirmed with indignation. Andrew, stop it. Her voice was harsh, almost angry. He looked at her with slight surprise. Do I have to stop? He slowly leaned toward her. Lauren, you re the one who lied to my face. You re the one who convinced me you were learning to drive while you were fucking him and going out to restaurants. You re the one who put the car in his name and made me pay for it. And after all that, I'm the one who is supposed to stop? She pressed her lips together, her eyes glistening with tears. It is not like that. It is exactly like that. He cut her off. You just did not expect me to reveal everything so quickly. She shook her head, but Andrew continued. Come on. Tell me it's worth all this? She glanced at Chris. He did not meet her gaze, just leaned back and took a sip of wine. Andrew nodded, as if he saw exactly what he wanted to see. I'm leaving, he said. But before I do, he held out his cell phone to her. Here, the lawyer's contact. I'll have the divorce papers for you by noon tomorrow. Will you sign them right away? Or am I in for more surprises? Lauren froze. Are you serious? Absolutely, Andrew nodded. She blinked, tears frozen on her lashes. You just going to leave? Why? Did you expect me to forgive? I do not need a lying bitch like that. Lauren lowered her eyes. I thought. Exactly, you did not. His voice was cold. And this is the result. You'll be left with a bare ass. He turned, heading for the exit. Chris exhaled and reached for his glass. But Andrew suddenly froze and turned around. Oh yeah, Chris, he smiled slightly. Good luck with the car payment. That's your concern now. Congratulations. Chris looked up sharply. What? I've already contacted the bank, Andrew shrugged. So all the installments now go through you. Chris turned pale. UCA not. Chris, are you stupid? Did you think I was going to pay for your car? Lauren shifted her gaze from one to the other, but did not intervene. Chris's face contorted with anger. You bastard. Andrew smiled. You re the bastard, and you know I'm not the one who fucked someone else's wife. He turned around and walked out, leaving them alone with their own shit. Their lesson was over. It had been 3 months since the divorce. Andrew did not ask how Lauren was living now. He did not care, or at least he convinced himself he did not. But the rumors were finding him. Saw your ex, a mutual acquaintance, Jason, had once told him as they sat at the bar. Andrew raised his eyebrows lazily. Jason took a sip of beer and shook his head. It looked lousy. Andrew did not answer. Lauren did look lousy. After the divorce, Chris had not turned out to be the man she thought he was. Without Andrew's generous financial infusion, he quickly began to show his true colors. He could not make the payments on the car she deregistered to him. It was soon repossessed for non-payment. He could not afford the lavish lifestyle she was used to. Soon she had to move out of their cozy home and into a cheap rental apartment that Chris shared with a neighbor. He could not provide her with gifts, trips, restaurants, and every day their relationship became more strained. He was starting to get annoyed with her. She at him. And then one morning, Chris just disappeared. He packed up his things, left, and did not even leave a note. Friday night, Andrew heard a knock on the door. He opened it. Lauren stood on the doorstep. She had dark circles under her eyes. Her face was thin, and her hair was disheveled. She looked 10 years older. Hi, she said quietly. Andrew leaned against the door jamb with his arms crossed. Why are you here? She did not answer right away. Can I come in? No. She swallowed, her lips trembling. I know what I've done, she whispered. He stared at her in silence. I was a fool, she continued, barely lifting her eyes to his. I thought that. I do not know what I thought. She tried to catch his gaze, but he would not give her the chance. I'm not asking you to forgive me. Her voice trembled. It's just, can we at least talk? Andrew was silent for a long time. Then he spoke. Lauren, get out of here. She blinked and pressed her lips together, wiping her eyes with the palm of her hand. Andrew, please. He shook his head. Go away. Lauren opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something else, but he already closed the door in her face. Her choice had been made, and so was his. And that's where today's story ends. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed it, do not forget to like and comment. We'd love to discuss this story with you. See you in the next video.